Governor Sim Fubara of Rivers State has vowed to keep the camp of the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, in the person of Nyesom Wike, restless. Hello viewers and welcome to Info Gist TV. Fubara issued the warning of keeping the camp of the Minister of Federal Capital Territory, FCT, who was the former Rivers State Governor in the person of Nyesom Wike, restless, while declaring the purported list of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) caretaker committee members for the state circulating on the social media as fake. There has been crisis in Rivers State since Fubara fell out with Wike, who is his predecessor. However, speaking at the groundbreaking of automobile spare parts market in Port Harcourt, Fubara described the list, which has the names of some Wike's loyalists, as the handiwork of cheap publicity seekers and agents of crisis. According to Fubara, in his words, he stated, "I know that a lot of you saw something flying on social media dailies. Let me brief you. We had a meeting and we agreed that not just in Rivers State, but in all states affected, that the executive councils of PDP should be extended for 3 months. This extension is not meant to bring in new names. The extension also did not say that you are working without the authority of the governor. So, for those lists that you saw and those ones altered, I can assure you that they are not going to stand. For record purposes, so that you understand, we also agreed that there is going to be a NEC meeting on the 18th of this month, which is April, that should ratify the decisions." So what we are seeing is the handiwork of desperate people who like media publicities. In fact, empty drums make the loudest noise. So don't bother about anything. Nothing is happening. You can see how restless they have been since I made just one statement yesterday. We will continue to make them restless. They won't know where we are coming from. We will also continue to hit them hard the way we hit them yesterday. So those of you who were worried when you saw those lists that were flying, go and rest, nothing is happening. This is Similaye Fubara, the governor of Rivers State, clearing the air on the rumors going around. Now, it is no longer news that the peace pact between the Rivers State governor, Similaye Fubara, and his predecessor and estranged political godfather, Nyesom Wike, has collapsed following the intervention in October 2023 by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in the wake of the escalating political crisis in the crude oil and gas rich state, Rivers State. The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, during a media chat in Abuja, ruled out any reconciliation in the foreseeable future with his successor, Governor Fubara. Fubara, on his part, broke his silence on April 3rd as a promise to surprise his detractors if they dared him, referring to those stampeding him to implement all the items in the 8-point presidential proclamation. But before the 2023 general elections, the love between Fubara, the then Accountant General of Rivers State, and Wike, then sitting governor, was to say the least deep and cordial. And among other considerations, Wike ruffled feathers within his camp, picked Fubara single-handedly, and made him the governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party in the build-up to the election. Wike's preference for Fubara, as believed in some quarters, was to ensure that his tracks for the 8 years as he governed the state were covered, and for him to continue his hold on the state and keep his political structure intact. Wike had his way and Fubara emerged the winner of the governorship election in the state and was sworn in accordingly on May 29, 2023, barely 5 to 6 months into the new administration. Things started turning sour between the successor and predecessor, who was appointed Minister of the Federal Capital Territory by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Now, when Fubara became the governor of Rivers State, Wike ensured that 7 commissioners who served under him were reappointed by Fubara. Not only that, they indeed retained the same positions in the new cabinet. He was alleged to have supervised all subsequent appointments in the new administration and called the shots on the other salient issues bothering governance in the state. And at some point, the situation did not go down well with Similai Fubara, seen then as a loyal political godson, until the treatment he was getting became mouthful. Before the crisis, anytime the Federal Capital Territory Minister would visit Rivers State, Fubara would have been at the Port Harcourt International Airport to welcome him and lead him to his abode. With 2 political leaders seen together at many state functions. Months down the line, however, their relationship became frosty to the extent that the 2 political leaders stopped seeing eyeball to eyeball, let alone sitting together at state functions. A case in point was in late October 2023 during the annual summit of the Nigerian Bar Association Young Lawyers Forum in Port Harcourt, held at the Justice Mary Odili's Judicial Institute, where the Federal Capital Territory Minister delivered a lecture. At that event with the theme, Breaking Barriers, Creating Future Leaders in Nigeria from the Present and the Next Generation of Young Lawyers, Governor Fubara, who was to present the keynote address, was represented by the Attorney General and the Commissioner for Justice in the person of Professor Zacchaeus Adango, SAN. Also in November 2023, during the unveiling of a book titled Law and Society, a compendium of speeches and addresses written by the then outgoing chairman of Rivers State University, Governing Council and Pro-Chancellor Justice Ichendo, retired in Port Harcourt, Wike attended as a special guest of honor, while Fubara, who was the chief host and visitor to the university, was visibly absent. Sundry occasions point to the no love lost between the godfather and the godson, as it were, though these were a prelude to the main show. The would-be crisis which some keen watchers of political events in the state predicted rightly reached the rooftop when it was speculated in the camp of the Federal Capital Territory Minister that Fubara was hobnobbing with some known political foes of Wike, including the PDP presidential candidate in the 2023 general elections, Atiku Abubakar, and members of his then campaign organization in Rivers State who fell out of favor with the former governor for pitching their tent with Atiku in the 2023 elections. To give vent to their claims within the same period, Fubara visited governors Doyin Diri of Bayelsa State and Godwin Obaseki of Edo State, both notably known for not supporting Wike's bid to be the PDP vice presidential stand bearers for the election. Now, a few weeks afterwards, the state was thrown into crisis with the attempt by 27 members of Rivers State House of Assembly, said to be loyal to the Federal Capital Territory minister, to commence the impeachment process against Fubara, which came after the bombing of the hallowed chamber of the state legislature. Wike had alleged that there was a plot to change the leadership of the assembly, precisely to remove his kinsman and Speaker of the House, Honorable Martins Amehule, saying whoever wants to do that will go first. As he pointed out that he will not allow anyone to hijack the political structure which he had toiled over the years to build in the states. Now, while welcoming governors elected on the platform of the PDP in his office in Abuja, Wike commented for the first time on the feud between the state assembly and the governor, saying he would not allow anyone to intimidate him. He added, "They have talked about the crisis in Rivers State. Let me tell anybody who cares that nobody can intimidate me. It does not matter whether you go and break talks or you say you are Ijo. If I want to do something, I will do it. Impeachment is not a military coup. It is provided for under the Constitution." Because, according to them, the 8-point resolution, the intervention of the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's, ushered in what some political pundits described as a first aid piece in the state, because, according to them, the 8-point resolution put before the feuding parties mainly favored his appointee, the Federal Capital Territory minister, leaving the incumbent governor between a rock and a hard place, though Wike on many occasions disagreed that he was favored, as he declared Fubara as the greatest beneficiary of the president's intervention, with the resolution leading to the withdrawal of the impeachment processes against the governor by the State House of Assembly. Fubara, too, on his return from the Abuja Treaty, started implementing the agreement, including the appointment of 9 pro-Wike commissioners who resigned their positions in the heat of the crisis, and payment of the withheld entitlement of the lawmakers who had, in the spirit of the agreement, withdrawn the impeachment proceedings. The issue of representation of the 2024 appropriation bill, which was hurriedly passed by 4 lawmakers led by the functional Speaker Edison Ehe and the Governor Fubara, signing into law 24 hours after presentation, as yet unresolved, as it is now a subject of litigation following suits filed by some Rivers elders, one led by the pioneer spokesman of the Pan-Niger Delta Forum, High Chief Amidst Sarigba, and the Rivers State Civil Society Organization led by its chairman, Anefa Georgewell. The pro-Wike lawmakers had continued to make life difficult for Governor Fubara by vetoing him, amending and enacting laws without his assent, notably the Rivers State Local Government Law and the State Advertisement and Signage Law, which whittled down the powers of the governor if implemented. The recent threats by the 27 lawmakers to resume impeachment proceedings against the governor lends credence to the deepening crisis between the two parties.